Hello and welcome everyone. Curtis here. We'll just give it another couple minutes so everyone can settle in, get comfy, grab a snack, maybe a coffee or a tea, and yeah, we'll get going in about 2 minutes, so 12 p.m. noon for me, top of the hour wherever you are, and yeah, you'll be hearing me very soon. All right, hello again. We'll give it one more minute. We'll just let everyone get their last minute calendar invites, and then we will get started at the top of the hour. So yeah, talk to y'all soon. All right, hello, howdy, and hi. Thank you all so much for joining me today. My name is Curtis Dohanyuk, and I am a product expert with Replicon, and I am coming at you live from the chilly location of Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Hopefully, it's a little bit warmer where you are. I do also apologize. I have a neighbor who's been taking up the saxophone, so usually you can't hear it. So let's just hope he holds out for another hour today, and we get some calm while we're doing our webinar today, and the only serenading will be my voice. But today, you are here joining me on our feature webinar presentation of our SAP strategic partnership with Replicon for time tracking. And we are going to be exploring why Replicon and SAP were made for each other. We allow you to track all of your time data across so many use cases, and we're going to see how you can get this information back to SAP or whatever platform you're using in your organization and ecosystem. So we're going to take a really deep dive into Replicon and how it works today. So just a couple of notes on the agenda before we go any further. Today, first, we're going to take a look at some of the problems that organizations face when they comes to time tracking. And then we're going to look at how the Replicon platform can solve these problems with our single source of truth for time. Then we're going to hop into a demo. It's not going to be so quick. It's going to be very demonstrative and thorough. And then we'll take a look at a few customer transformations and finally finish off with a Q&A. So just a few housekeeping notes throughout this presentation. You will be on mute, but don't worry. If you have any questions that pop into your brain at any point in time, feel free to submit them into the question box on the bottom, and we'll get to them all at the end of the webinar. Yes, I know it feels like I might be ignoring you, but I'm not. We're just trying to keep the flow of everything going along. But that being said, if there's any massive disasters, maybe you can't see me anymore, or hear me, I get sucked into a black hole, feel free to raise your hand, then submit a question, and then I will get to that right away so we can continue to perform the webinar in a way that is accessible by everyone. And that being said, too, maybe a little bit later, you're sitting down and you have a coffee or you're turning on the TV, and for some strange reason, Replicon pops into your brain. That's okay. You can always drop us an email and we'll get back to you at any time. So at Replicon, not only do we believe that people's time is a strategic asset, but it is your most important asset. Time is finite and you only have so much available. And once it is used up, it is gone. So you need to make sure you manage this precious, precious resource like the very valuable asset that it is. And exactly how much time do you have at your disposal? Well, that depends on the size of your organization. With 500 employees, you will have 1.04 million hours available in a year. With 5,000 employees, you're going to have 10.4 million hours available in a year. And with 50,000 employees, you'll have 104 million hours at your disposal annually. And that is a lot of time. That is almost unfathomable how much time you have. It's really shocking to think about what you could do with 104 million hours. And this is way too much time for any one employee or even one department to manage all on their own. And what makes this time so difficult to manage? Well, one it is fragmented and tedious. So as you can see with Frankie, our poor Franken system, he has so many different platforms that are trying to communicate with each other. We have ERP, CRM, PSA, HCM, payroll, project management, and they're all trying to communicate. But let's just say not every piece fits into the puzzle quite as well as it could. And then on top of that, to compound matters even further, we have our on-premises data and databases and our on-premises hardware. And let's just say not everyone is currently working on-premises. So this just makes trying to find the information that we need even more difficult. And this causes more than a few problems. Even looking at this list of problems is giving me a headache. But some of the problems that organizations face when they're not able to accurately track their time include costing and billing delays. They see future pipeline and growth decreases, overtime issues, inability to plan, costing and billing errors. The list goes on. There are so many problems that a lack of time tracking can cause. So we're here to solve those. But before we go any further, we do have a poll that we want to launch. We do really value all of your opinions, whether you're a customer or a prospect. We want to understand what people are using the platform for, as well as how we can better tailor these webinars to meet everyone's needs. So today, our first poll question, yes, there's going to be another one, I know, very exciting, but what do you use time tracking data for? So you can choose all that apply. And we want to know, are you using it for project job costing, internal client billing, external client billing, time and attendance for payroll, or tracking employee productivity? There's no right answers, but we're really interested in understanding exactly how everyone is planning to utilize Replicon as a platform. And again, then we can better build our product as well as these demonstrations for everyone to suit your needs to their maximum. So thank you all for getting your votes in so quickly. Everything is just trickling in here. I'll give you just a couple of more seconds to submit your votes, and then I will reveal the results that you are all anxiously waiting for. So it looks like that's about what we're going to get for this poll. Thanks again for voting. Oh, no, last minute, you proved me wrong. So we do have two that are ahead of everyone else. We have time and attendance for payroll and tracking employee productivity. Close second is project job costing. But don't worry, we are going to cover every single one of these topics in our webinar tonight, or today, I guess it's not tonight yet. And yes, Replicon is a very diverse platform that has so many use cases that we can cover, and we're going to explore that in just a few minutes. And we also do understand that, well, in your organization, that you will also have a diverse amount of roles, and all these roles are going to need time for different reasons. So you have finance leaders, operation leaders, delivery leaders, resource managers, payroll and billing leaders, and HR leaders, and they all have different reasons for needing this time. But what doesn't change is they need this time to be accurate, and they need a consistent source to be able to pull this information from. We don't want people to try dig through Excel spreadsheets and decipher information, because no one's going to get the same results from that. We need one consistent source of truth for all of our time. Well, we have that with our Replicon Time Intelligence platform. It is your powerful platform for all time tracking needs. So you will hear me say this more than a couple of times today, but Replicon is so configurable. Every aspect of our platform can be changed to meet your organization's needs. And this includes size. So whether you are that 10-employee startup or that 1 million employee established organization, Replicon can and grow and evolve to meet all of your needs. And this includes growing in locations. So we are global and secure. So regardless of where you have employees on this big planet of ours, we will have a Replicon instance that is set up to their needs. And that includes locations, languages, currencies, payrolls, time zones, holiday schedules. Whatever you need to configure this to each and every individual employee in your organization, we can do that, because we don't want you to feel like you are being pigeonholed into our platform. We want our platform to flex around you. We want to ensure that everything is easy and efficient for anyone that is capturing their time data. And another way that we make this whole process easy is by being mobile ready. So we are mobile first, and we have created our mobile app from the ground up, because we know very soon hopefully, that people are going to be out and about and logging their time from the road or maybe with clients. And then unfortunately, and also fortunately, I'm sure we've all had enough of this, they won't be sitting in front of a computer 24/7. So no, we need to ensure that you can track your time data from wherever you are. So we have made a flawless mobile experience that is super intuitive for every single user involved, and it really just makes it so easy for people to track their time data. And if it's easy, people are going to do it, and we're going to be able to harvest all that information that we need to make those big decisions. And another way that we really streamline processes in our platform is through artificial intelligence. So whether you're an administrator or an end user, you're going to find artificial intelligence throughout our platform. And whether this is smart approval processes or our chatbot, we're going to have different interactions throughout our platform that are just going to be streamlined by artificial intelligence. And finally, we are plug and play. So that is the reason we're here today, because we are able to configure ourselves and connect with SAP to send all the time tracking information you need to not only SAP, but whatever else you have moving in your ecosystem. And not only can we send that data, but we can also receive it. We are a bilateral API, so we can get that information where you need it, and you can send that information right back to Replicon without any sweat. And we fit well into any ecosystem, so you don't have to worry about having Frankie or Franken system. You're going to have a seamless, polished ecosystem with Replicon at its center. And Replicon is made up of a comprehensive suite. So our suite is made up of multiple solutions, and you can have as many or as few of these active as you see fit for your organization. Now, these solutions cover a wide range of different use cases. So if we take a look, we can see time and billing, project time and costing, project resource management, as well as more on the time attendance side. And again, every organization is going to need to capture time for different reasons, and we want to ensure we are covering all of these different use cases, and we are going to really see that in action today. So we have a really big demo planned for all of you today. Replicon is a large platform, and we're going to try cover as many use cases as we can. And here's some of the highlights of what we're going to see today. So we are going to take a look at managing time as an enterprise asset. We're going to take a look at our modern interfaces and user experience. We're going to show you our native mobile apps for self-service in action. Now, you're not going to see this in action today, but we do also have a zero-touch time harvesting. And that is actually a tablet that we can mount at the entrance of a workplace. And you can actually clock in and clock out and take breaks using facial recognition. You can scan a badge, and it can even recognize your face with a mask on. And you navigate all the menus with your voice. So we are really adapting to all the changes that we are facing as a globe in the 2020 year that will go down in infamy. So we just want to be able to adapt to anything that changes. And whether that be our clock in, clock out features or our actual platform itself, we are always being flexible and adapting with the times. We're also going to take a look at our real-time visibility across all of your groups. We're going to see our multilingual and multi-currency support in action. We're going to take a look at global governance with local optimization, an audible record of time data, and finally, we're going to see how those open APIs work in our platform. So we are almost at the demo, but there is one more poll question I have for everyone. Again, we are just really interested in understanding how everyone is using time data in their current systems. So we want to know, what are some of the other systems that you use, and which would you prefer to have the time system integrated with? So we do have any payroll system like ADP, Paychex, etc. Any HRMS system like Bamboo HR, Workday, and the namesake title, SAP. We're also looking at to connect to project management systems like Microsoft Projects and Salesforce, and CRM, ERP systems like Oracle, MS Dynamics, etc. And judging by the last poll, I'm assuming, since a lot of you voted that you are using it for payroll and time and attendance, that we're going to have a lot of connections to payroll systems, but it looks like everything is kind of evenly distributed. I'll give everyone just a couple more seconds to get their votes in. We don't want to keep you too long with me stalling in the background, trying to come up with some witty banter. So I think we're going to close off our poll for now. And as I suspected, yes, our number one was any payroll system. We also have any HRMS system. So we're going to really explore how Replicon not only captures all this data, but gets it to the areas that you need it in a cleansed, efficient, and effective manner. So with that, we are going to hop into our platform and see everything in action. So at Replicon, we know as organizations, there is so much going on and so much that you have to keep track of at any given time. You have projects to plan, you have vacations to manage, you have time off that you need to take into account, and you have billing and costing that has to be taken into account across your organization. And all of this stems from time data. And not only do we want to help you capture this time data, but we want to help you transform it and visualize it in a way that allows you to make big decisions for your organization. And we do that through our dashboards. So these dashboards are real-time visualizations of all the data that you have entered into our system. And they cover a breadth of different topics. So for example, for many organizations, just understanding their hours is super important. So we want to understand how many hours we're spending on work time, which of our hours are being used for time off, as well as which of our hours are over allocated and how many hours we're expecting to use in a year. But there's a couple of different use cases. So if we're doing project costing and billing, we're going to want to understand how effective we are at using these hours towards our projects. So we can break this down by example into overall productivity. And this is going to be project time versus non-project time. And obviously we want to have a majority of our time on this project time because that's where we're going to be making our money. And we want to limit the amount of time that we are spending on non-project time. And right off the bat, it looks like 89% project time. That's actually a pretty good productivity rate. But there's more to that equation than just what meets the eye. We can also break this down by utilization. And as an organization, a 70% utilization rate is something to aim for. And that is 70% billable hours on our projects and our non-project time. But in this instance, we can actually see that 32% of our time is non-billable and 11% of our time is non-project time, which leaves us only with a 57% utilization rate. And we can see how all this non-project time directly affects many of our projects. So for example, dashboarding and our evaluation of billing systems all have a ton of non-billable time. And this in turn is going to affect the profitability of those projects. And this also gives us a good idea that we need to start turning things around so we're not hemorrhaging money. And maybe you're not specifically focused on project time and costing. Maybe you just want to understand time and attendance. So we can also understand all this through our time allocation dashboards. And I have been having some issues with Tableau today. So I'm actually going to switch over to Power BI, and let me just hide this little screen on the bottom here. So we have this available to you in a couple of different platforms. We can connect to Tableau, Power BI, and Google BigQuery to really unleash your data for you. So if you're looking at understanding how you're allocating your hours across departments or sub-departments, we can also break that down for you. And this is really important, for example, for understanding where most of your over allocation is coming from. So you can either better allocate those hours or do some hiring so you have more hours available in that specific department. So we are really taking into account all the time and data that you have entered into our platform and unleashing it in a way that makes you able to make those big decisions. But of course, we are going to need to harvest this time data first before we can unleash it. And we do that through our timesheets. So at Replicon, we do call ourselves the time intelligence company for a reason. We do time so well. Time really is our bread and butter. And we harvest all this time data through our timesheets. So within Replicon, there exists so many permutations of timesheets that you could feasibly create an individual timesheet for every single user in your organization. And today, we're going to look at a couple of different use cases that these timesheets can cover, and we're going to drill down into exactly what uses these will be. So for example, we're going to look at a project timesheet. We're going to look at how our projects are set up, how we resource them, and how we log our time towards them. Or we're also going to look at more of a time and attendance. So we're going to look at how Replicon manages governance within our platform, as well as compliance. And we're going to take a look at how you can enter time through punching in and out. So we're going to take a look at a couple of different use cases and see how all this time data is harvested through our system and is perfect for exporting into platforms like SAP or whatever else you are using in your ecosystem. So our first timesheet that we will see before us is a little bit more project oriented. So you can see I can go ahead and log my time towards specific projects or programs in this instance, then projects, and then we can also log our time towards tasks. Everything here is searchable. So if you have hundreds of different job codes, we're making it easy to locate the exact one that you are working on. And in tandem with our permissions, we're going to ensure that time entry is clean and accurate every single time. Now we can also log our time towards activity so we can really hone in on exactly what we're logging on our timesheet, and then we can go ahead and start entering our hours. Now, there's going to be a few things that update in real time as we log these hours. First, if I hop up to implementation, you can see as I add an hour here, we will see this update in real time on my progress bar. So every task in our organization can have a progress bar attached to them, and we can choose whether we want our end users to be able to see this or not. But in this instance, we do want them to see because we want them to understand how close to completion a specific task should be. And as they're reaching that completion, they'll either be able to close it out or have a discussion with a manager if they think things are going to drive a little bit long. Similarly, we also have our target billable hours on the bottom. And as we start logging billable hours, as you can see, we have a couple different here. We're going to see that bar grow in just a second here. And this is going to give us an accurate representation of how close we are to reaching our goals for the month. So you can see in the back, we have that lighter shade. That's about how far we should be. And in this instance, we're doing excellent. We are logging a ton of billable hours, and we are really on the path to meeting our goal. But maybe we weren't. Maybe we're only at 25%. This is a good indicator that I need to have a discussion with my supervisor or manager because we want to avoid those disappointing conversations at the end of the month. You didn't meet your goal. Yeah, I know. And everyone's sad and no one knows what to say. We want to avoid that. We want to be proactive with Replicon. So we allow you to make those judgments on what's going to happen before they happen. So if I see that I'm not going to reach my goals, I go to my manager, tell them I need some help, I need some course correction, and that way we are being proactive and fixing the problems before they happen. Now, that being said, I think this timesheet is looking pretty full. I did have a pretty busy week. I've been doing a lot of webinars. So let's go ahead and submit this timesheet for approval. And of course, the first thing I will see is one of my validation rules in effect. So validation rules in Replicon are certain parameters that must be met every single time a timesheet is submitted. And these validation rules will cover a couple different things like mandatory break enforcement, minimum hours entered, maximum hours entered, hours during a rolling period, maximum overtime during a day or a week. So there are a whole ton of these validation rules. I think we have over 70 in our system right now. And these really allow you to hone in on exactly how you want your time to be entered and ensure that it is clean and accurate every single time. And if you kind of exceed any of these parameters on your timesheet, there's going to be different results. So in this instance, we can see that I did forget to click my little attestation box on the bottom. So I will get this gentle reminder to go ahead and accept and submit. And once I go ahead and do so, we're going to let Replicon work its magic for a second here. I'm going to give you a hint. It's not going to accept this timesheet. Yes, we will see time entered for for financial data reporting fixes implementation has exceeded the estimated 1,000 hours, and this timesheet submission failed. So we can actually reject these timesheets outright because we want to put the onus on the end user. We know how frustrating it is as a supervisor going back and forth asking, does this need to be changed? Yes to this, no to what? And it just is not an efficient use of anyone's time. So by putting the onus on the end user, we can ensure that this time data is being entered accurately every single time. And on top of that, again, this allows us to be proactive. So if this user has exceeded the 1,000 hours that we have set as an estimate on this project, and we can set this validation rule to trigger at 100%, 150%, 200%, whatever the case may be. Once we have reached that threshold, I will not be able to submit my timesheet. And if I want to submit my timesheet, I'm going to have a discussion with my manager. And maybe they did not realize that this task was running so long. And now they can join in and, again, get everything on the course correction path so that we can continue to run efficiently as an organization. So these timesheets allow us to be proactive as an organization and really track all the pertinent data that we need to understand how we are doing in any specific area of our company. Now, it's good that we understand how the time is entered, but we are going to need a project structure within our platform so that we can actually log our time towards those projects, since we are looking at a time and costing billing and costing model. So first, we are going to need to have those projects within Replicon. And there's a couple of ways that we can get these projects visualized. If you have your own project planning program, and in this instance, we're talking SAP, but whatever you're using in your ecosystem, you can actually import all that project information and it will be visualized just like you see here. And this includes importing things like resources and roles. All that can be imported directly to our platform. And it saves you so much work from going back and forth and again, trying to recreate things in our platform. And on top of that, if maybe you need to create a project on the spot or you're not using your own project planning program, that is okay too, because we can create them directly from the platform itself. So right off the bat, I'll be given a host of options that I can configure on these projects like billing type, billing rate time period, time and expense entry, total contract value, the list goes on. And this is just the tip of the iceberg because actually after we have created this project, we'll be given a host more of metrics that we can configure. So we can change our cost type, billing type, time and expense entry, invoice currency, total contract value, estimated hours, costs and expenses. So we can really ensure that every single one of these projects is shaped in the way that we need it to be shaped, and it'll work perfectly for our organization. And to better understand how all of our time is going to filter through these different projects, we do have a very broad project structure within our platform. And at the top, we start with our programs, and our programs are the larger initiatives within an organization. And essentially, these are a group of projects. And now they can contain as many projects as you see fit. So you can see business intelligence practice has quite a few, or as little as you need. So with administration or lonely sales and business development, they only have one project. Again, Replicon is configurable, and we're just here to meet your needs and find the best way for you to track your time. Now, there's a couple of other things that you will see throughout our platform. One is tables, and all these table settings are sortable, so you can change and make whatever information you need visible. And we can also find out a little bit more about any one of these programs. So if I see, you know what, business intelligence practice, that's a pretty big program. I wish I could understand more. Well, of course you can. We are the time intelligence platform, and we're going to give you all the information you need on all these programs. So not only do you get a summary of hours, cost, billing, and resources, but we can also break down every single project that is in this program. Whether this project belongs to you, if you have permissions, you'll also be able to see all projects in progress, projects that are completed, and projects are archived. But what we really want to bring home is that we are giving you access to all of your data because, well, it's your data. And you should be able to build upon your past successes and maybe past struggles and really understand how these have affected your organization and build upon future projects and really use all of this data to make your organization run as efficiently as possible. So we're giving you access to all of your projects, whether they are current or archived, and all this information feeds into those live dashboards that we saw previously. And again, from here, we'll be able to adjust these table settings. We're actually given a few more options within our projects page, and we can also drill down into any one of these projects. So again, if I want to find out more about our most expensive project in this program, financial data reporting fixes, I can drill down and I will be given real-time representations of hours, cost, and billing. And anytime we enter a single hour towards this project, we will see the results of that in these real-time updates. And these, again, are so important for understanding the trends of our organization. So at the beginning of 2019 and late 2018, we can see things were going pretty well. We were billing pretty high and our costs were a little bit lower and things were looking good. But judged by your histograph, things took a little bit of a turn. We had a really dormant period, and then we had sporadic billing, but pretty high costs. So by understanding these trends, we can start to move our allocations and our resources around, as well as understanding what tasks might be causing us problems. We can really drill down into these problems and again, start course correction before things get too dire. But we do want our projects to be more than just a simple checkbox on your timesheet. So we break these down even further into tasks. And tasks are our nice bite-sized digestible chunks of a project. All of these tasks can be arranged into task trees, simple or complex, again, whatever makes sense for your organization, and they can all be assigned estimates. And these estimates are important for a couple of reasons. One is they help us to understand exactly how close to completion one of these specific tasks is. So if we take a look at interview, 46 out of 50 hours done. Yeah, and if that is really the case, we're almost finished off, we can start moving our time into other areas like survey or post analysis. And on the flip side, if we look at implementation, it's still running a little long. This is a good indicator that we really need to put some resources into this task so that we can finish it off, so we can stop the hemorrhage of money and finish this project in a timely fashion. What this estimates also allow us to do is understand where our strengths or maybe weaknesses may lie as an organization. So if we are consistently coming in under our estimated hours on user training, then that's a good indicator that we can build down those estimates. And if implementation is consistently a thorn in our side, maybe we start to need to start building up those estimates. But what this allows us to do is get a better and more accurate scope on how long every single project is going to take us. And if we better understand this, we can plan our projects in a calendar year to more efficiency. And if we're able to finish out all these projects with ease, we can start planning more projects and making more money. Because if we're consistently making bad estimates on every single task and project, then we are going to have no idea how much work we can do in a year. But by keeping strict track of every single project and task that we are working on, we can more accurately plan our calendar year and effectively close out every single one of these projects with efficiency. So now that we have a better idea of how these projects are structured within our platform, we are going to need a team working on them. And shockingly enough, this is done in the team tab. So our team tab will give us a nice summary of everyone who is assigned to this project, but it also gives us a good example of the permission-driven nature of the platform. So everything in Replicon is permission-driven, which means you will only be able to access the information you have been given access to. So take, for example, Tammy Benson. Tammy Benson is assigned to this project. She will not be able to see any information on any of the projects that she is not assigned to. So these are the only projects she will be able to see information on, even if they are in the same program, for example. She won't be able to see anything else in that program unless she's given access to it. And then on top of that, she will only be able to access the project information that she's given access to. So, for example, billing rates. We have billing rates that can be adjusted on the fly. We can remove billing rates. We can add billing rates. We can actually configure these. So if we're adding a discount, we can actually change this on the go. And these billing rates are going to be assigned to team members. And these are the only billing rates that these team members will be able to log on their timesheets toward this project and task. So we are really ensuring that they are not only able to control what they see in their timesheets, but when they see it. So we can actually schedule start and end dates to specific tasks that they're working on. Again, so we can really ensure that all the time being entered into our timesheets is accurate, because we know mistakes can happen on purpose or by accident. So we want to limit these and really hone in those permissions to ensure that everything is being entered to our organization's liking. But just knowing who is on a team is only half the battle. We also need to understand how their hours are allocated. And again, shocking, we make this easy through our allocation tab. And our allocation tab will have a couple different color codes to help you understand how people are working on this project. So we have these blue hours, and those are hours allocated to this project. We have these gray hours, those are hours allocated elsewhere. We have this green hour, which is hours allocated to time off. And I've done this webinar a couple times today, and I still don't know what color this is, but we're going to say that's gray, and that's hours allocated to holidays. Now, what we want to avoid is our arch nemesis in the corner here. Yes, little red triangle. That means we are over allocating our users. Over allocation means overtime. Overtime means increased overhead, and that's what we want to avoid. So by understanding all of these allocations, we can better plan out these projects. And now in this instance, we saw that we did hit a little bit of a flat line in our financial data reporting fixes project. And that's probably because we don't really have a lot of activity going on in this project right now. So I'm going to kickstart things, and we are going to go ahead and add a user. And for many organizations, this can be a stressful moment because we have 10, 100,000 users, doesn't really matter the number. We're going to have to find the perfect person for every single role. And this can be a lot of searching. So we wanted to make this easy within Replicon. And we give you a ton of different metrics that you can sort by. So whether it be department, skill, project, client, program, location, you're going to be able to find the right person for every role. Now, in this instance, it's been fun staying up late with APAC and waking up early with Europe, but let's make everything line up. So we're going to look for someone in North America. And I do need someone with a very specific set of skills. Unfortunately, we don't have Liam Neeson available at the moment. I do need a CH architect though. And of course, we're going to have a user that pops up, Alex Chu. Looks like he is our Liam Neeson, so we can go ahead and add him to the job. And maybe in this instance, there's someone with multiple people with that Sage skill. We can actually assign them ratings on this skill. So again, we can just understand who's going to fit each role to the best of their abilities. And once we've assigned Alex to this project, assigning his hours is just as easy. So we can actually drill down into the time frame that we want to assign his hours for. We can give him a specific number of hours per day, total hours per week or month, depending on what view. So this month, it will be month in this case. And finally, a percentage of his available hours. So this tool is very useful because we know that over allocating users increases our cost, but there are some pitfalls to under allocating users, right? We're not going to be able to fit as many projects into a year. We're not going to be closing out projects as quickly. And this is what we want to avoid. So why not avoid both of these issues and just allocate them to their maximum potential? So we have an allocation of 100% of his available hours. We know we're not over allocating, we're not under allocating. We're going to allow Alex to understand exactly what he should be working on, and we are going to be closing out projects in a timely fashion. And once we have allocated these hours, Alex will have a cost associated with him. And depending on the project, you can also normalize this cost. And this will be updated throughout our platform. So on our dashboards that we saw previously, as well as those live tables, everything will be updated to reference this change that we have made to this project. And if you really want to understand this resourcing in detail, we can dig down. Shockingly, I know things are very aptly named in this platform, but we can dig down into our resource tab. And everything here will be displayed in a fashion that allows us to understand exactly how we're using our resources across our organization. So say, for example, I want us to understand how we had Tammy resourced across a specific month. We can drill down and see where she was working on every project. Or maybe we want to see why we were over allocating a specific skill. So during October, we had 2 users over allocated, and we had 1 user that was not allocated at all. That's a good indicator that we did not do our resourcing very well that month. And this is something that we can fix in the future and improve upon. Similarly, maybe we had a specifically bad week in a project or a bad month and we want to understand what went wrong. We can drill down into that project, see how our allocation looked, and again, improve upon this in the future so we are not repeating the same mistakes twice and increasing our utilization across the board. So now that we have a better understanding of how we plan our projects and how we resource them, we've got a really good look at how we are going to be using a use case for projects and costing and billing. But there are people that aren't planning projects in their organization. They want to use Replicon for time and attendance, or maybe they're doing a combination of both and they need some different options on their timesheets. So we want to make this available to you. So we also support a ton of different options when it comes to logging your time, one of those being punches. And this is the preferred method for many organizations. You clock in, clock out, you clock in for your breaks. You can also clock in and clock out towards specific tasks. But in this instance, we can see Thomas is just logging his time. But what is not so easy for Thomas is understanding exactly how his hours are distributed across overtime, double time, regular time. And this can be a headache not only for Thomas, our end user, but as well as for administrators and payroll. They have to go through all these different timesheets and try to calculate these changes. And maybe everything doesn't always turn out right. Maybe Thomas makes a mistake. We can actually fix these problems before they happen. So we have a couple of options. If you're using SAP, you can actually import your schedules directly to our platform and you can overwrite with these scheduled hours. Or we actually have a payroll assigned to every user in your organization and you can overwrite with that payroll and we can automatically allocate those timesheet hours. So again, we are saving this stress for everyone involved and we are letting machines do the thinking. They're smart. They could do the calculations a lot faster than we can. And we'll see that those hours have been allocated right away and distributed across those different times. So regular time, double time, and overtime. It did it in a flash. And this is all possible because of our governance. And this is done in our compliance dashboard. So as you can see on the top here, I actually have a couple of notifications. And this is just letting me know that we do have some updates on our compliance dashboard. So our compliance dashboard will house every single payroll that you have assigned to a user in your organization. So you can actually drill down and see which payroll is assigned to which user. And these payrolls can be assigned one by one or in a batch fashion. But all of these payrolls are being monitored by a dedicated team of product and legal experts. And anytime there is a change in any one of these payrolls, they are going to go in the back end of our system and update it automatically. And this really makes it easy for everyone involved because all you have to do to make sure you're compliant is review, acknowledge, and you're done. But of course, we are responsible managers and we're going to do our due diligence. So we want to understand exactly how this payroll is going to affect our organization. And we can drill down in a couple of different ways. We have kind of our short form here, which is going to be kind of the summary of these changes. Or if we want to drill down a little bit deeper, we can actually take a look at our blog. So this is housed on Replicon, and this is a really deep dive into any of these changes that happen. And again, we really want to understand how these are going to affect our organization so we can get a full overview of everything in our blog. And here you can actually subscribe to specific locations. You can add in multiple subscribers. And so you can just stay up to date on any of these changes as they happen. And once we are armed with the knowledge of what is changing within our organization, we can hop back to this compliance dashboard, accept those changes, and we're done. We're compliant. So this is really out of the box of compliance. You don't have to stress about drilling down into your platform, staying up to date, following the news. Everything is done for you. We make this easy for every single person involved. And there will be instances, though, where you want to find out a little bit more about these payrolls. We have a full library available to you, over 125 provinces, locations, states, countries, territories. They're all listed in our compliance library. And here you can drill down and really understand exactly how each of these is affecting your organization. So I like to use the Czech Republic as an example because they have a lot going on with their payrolls. They have parameters for daily overtime, weekly overtime, night premiums. The list goes on, and we break this down in a kind of inward way that makes sense. So again, we're just really empowering you as an organization to make the best decisions that are going to have the best results for your organization. But there will be instances, maybe you have a union or a CBA, where these payrolls are slightly different than the local legislation. We don't want you to be changing these already built in payrolls because we want you to stay compliant, but you can always go ahead and make a copy. And once you've made this copy, you will be able to drill down into this copy and make any of those adjustments as necessary. So again, we are giving you the options to configure this platform to meet your needs, and it's click, not code. We don't need you to be coding experts to be able to change anything in our platform. Everything is done intuitively, and you can adjust all these configurations with just a couple of clicks. So again, we really wanted to make this accessible and easy for everyone involved. And we've looked at a couple of different use cases, but by no means is this the exhaustive list. We do have a number of timesheets within our platform, and by number, I mean a very high number. And we're going to look at a couple of other examples here. So first, we're going to look at Chris. Chris has a little bit more of a basic timesheet, and for some organizations, all they're needing to track is the hours worked and if they're logging any overtime. So Chris has gone ahead and logged his hours per day, and we can see that he has actually triggered one of these warnings. Now, this is a little bit different than what we saw previously because on our last timesheet, this warning actually rejected our timesheet. But in this instance, we kind of did expect that Chris sometimes will be working overtime. So we wanted him to be able to submit this timesheet. It's going to be flagged. I'm going to have to drill down a little bit and review it. But this gives me the options again. And if we need to ever go back and fix this timesheet, we can go ahead and reopen this, adjust it myself. But like we said before, we want to put the onus on the end user. So we can actually give Chris a window where he can go in and adjust this timesheet himself. And we can lock it out if we are doing a pay run and we don't want this to be adjusted during that pay run. But again, Replicon is very flexible and very intelligent. So if he does make an adjustment on this timesheet, we can ensure that if it is within the specified time, that this will send all that information to the appropriate delta and adjust that payroll information accordingly. Now, another instance of a timesheet that we have here is with Kurt Jones, and Kurt Jones has a little bit more of a complicated timesheet. Kurt is logging the exact hours that they are working during the day on specific project tasks and activities. Kurt also has an area for comments. And again, this is important right now with people working from home. We like to stay up to date with what everyone is doing and really help them with their struggles or their successes. We also have a custom field on the end here that says mileage. Now, this could be mileage, it could be units completed, it could be photo proof done of the work for the day. Whatever the case may be, we want to show that not only can you make an individual timesheet for every user in your organization, but an individual timesheet for every single situation that they might find themselves in. So maybe some weeks Kurt's going to be working from home, working from the office, working from the road, and maybe a combination of the three, and he needs a different timesheet set up for each one of those situations. We can actually change Kurt's timesheet out on a week-to-week basis to ensure that his time entry is easy and accurate and efficient as possible. Because again, we want all this clean and efficient data to get to our systems like SAP so that we can make the correct decisions for our organization. And we wanted this ease of use to transfer over to everyone, no matter where they are. So we have created our mobile app from the ground up with this ease of use in mind. So I'm just going to change my screens here quickly, and we will see the mobile app in action. So as I was discussing before, we can log our time on the go. Here you'll see I can actually clock in and clock out towards specific projects, tasks, and clients. Or if we're just clocking in for time, I can actually eliminate all these fields here. We can also take breaks, transfer our time, and we can actually do a couple different things with these punch in, punch outs. We can mandate that a photo be taken so we know there's no buddy punching, or we can take a geotag snapshot and understand where they're clocking in or out from so that they're not at the golf course or a restaurant when they should be working. We'll be able to understand exactly where our resources are too in case there's a natural disaster and we need to get a hold of them. So we just give you a ton of options when it comes to capturing your time. And as well, we can also log our time traditionally with our timesheets. So we can go ahead and log our time towards specific programs, projects, tasks, billing rates, activities, and enter our time. So we're really, again, flexible within our platform. And we wanted this flexibility to transfer over to all of our approvers. So we also have a handy dashboard where you can approve and not approve, reject any timesheets, expenses, or timesheets as you see fit. So here we can actually drill down into all these timesheets. Now you saw 83 there. I don't want to over inundate you with data. So if I refresh this page, they would all fill it up. But just for demonstration purposes, we're going to keep it at 3 for now. But when I drill down into these timesheets, I'll be given all the information I need to know if this is a timesheet that I want to approve or reject. So I'll be able to see Tammy, she's worked the 8 hours per day, 5 days a week. Her payroll summary is looking pretty regular, no overtime. So I can go ahead and approve this timesheet. But to save everyone involved time, since we have no validation warnings triggered and we have our strict permissions in place, we can actually set these business as usual timesheets to approve automatically. And if we're going through 100,000 business as usual timesheets every week, this is going to save everyone so much time. Not only are we saving time, but we're getting these timesheets approved quicker so we can get things moving along with payroll, etc., in a more timely fashion. And maybe we don't want to have everything automatically approved. Maybe we still value the traditional approval processes. We can do that within Replicon as 2. We can set up 1-step, 2-step, 15-step approval. Again, whatever makes sense for your organization. And time data is not just captured through timesheets. We are also able to configure our platform to meet other needs. And that includes things like time off. So our time off will be found in the My Replicon tab. And here I will be able to support every single different time off type under the sun. So we have these custom configurable policies that we can apply to every user in our organization. And me as an end user can understand exactly how I am accruing vacation time, for example. So I can drill down into my policy. I'll be able to see when it's effective, what my starting balance is, how my monthly accrual works, my yearly carryover, and any custom fields. And I'll actually be able to see how I am accruing this time in real time as it happens. And once I have a better understanding of how all of this time is accrued, I can go ahead and start booking my days off. So we can see I already have a couple vacation requests submitted, but if I need to make a new one, I can choose my start and end date. And we'll actually see in real time how many hours I have left after this booking, if I have enough, and this will actually reject me if I don't have enough, if we have set that validation rule. And I can go ahead and submit this for approval. And like we saw previously, this will be sent off to my manager right away, and they can approve this with swiftness so I can start planning my end of year vacation and imagine myself somewhere hot, which is not yet, but soon. And we also allow you to understand exactly how everyone on your team is booking their time off. So this page can also highlight when other people have booked time off on your team. So if you're a manager, this allows you to understand which time off requests you should reject and which you can approve, because we all know the pain of having 5 people take their leave at the same time and having no one available to work. So with Replicon, we allow you to avoid this. We also allow for the easy entry of expenses within our platform, and even someone who has never entered an expense in their life will find it super easy with our setup. So here we can already pre-configure all the different expenses they can claim, and things like mileage, we can already build in the reimbursement rate. Exchange rate will be automatically updated. So really you can rest easy and make sure that everyone is able to enter their expenses with as little hassle as possible. And again, we can do this on the mobile app, so we can do this on the go. So you're able to track your expenses, and we can ensure accuracy by having these receipts uploaded. So again, super configurable and really simple for every single person involved. And now that we have captured all of this data, we need to get it to that system of your choice, whether it be SAP or anything else in your ecosystem. And we have a couple of different workbenches where we can really drill down into all this time information. So we have a cost workbench, a billing workbench, and a payroll workbench that really allow us to drill down into this data. And we're going to look at a couple of different use cases for each. So our costing and time workbench allows us to break down every single activity, task, and project that we are working on by user, by date, and by hours. And this is so important for a couple of reasons. Maybe we're looking at chargebacks and understanding who should be charged for specific actions in our organization. We can refer to all this breakdown right away and understand who's charging for what. Now, we can also use this if we're looking to log our time towards R&D tax credits, because there are very stringent requirements on what we can claim and what we can't claim. And if there is going to be an audit, we want to be audit proof. So by keeping a full and complete record of everything we have worked on to the T, we can be sure that we are going to be able to claim these credits and not have to worry about being audited. And of course, when we are ready, we can export this to the program of our choosing, whether that be SAP or anything else in our ecosystem. Getting this data out of our time workbench is easy and efficient. And the same goes for billing. So we have billing built right into the system. We can understand all of our billable hours. We can actually invoice directly from the platform, and all these invoices can be configured so we can change the logo, the color scheme, the layout. If we need to adjust line items, we can do that in real time with visibility for both the issuer and the issuee, so we can see right away the amount was updated and everything was updated on the invoice in real time. And we can send this out directly from the platform, or we can export all this information to, again, the billing platform of our choice. And finally, as we saw, a lot of you folks are using your time information for payroll. So we can actually create pay runs directly from the platform itself. We have access to every single timesheet in our organization, whether it has been submitted, waiting for approval, overdue, rejected, approved. And we can head on over to our time payroll workbench and actually just break down all this time based on different currencies, who's getting paid, and we can go ahead and create these pay runs and then again export them to the payroll program of our choice. So with Replicon, we are making all this data capture and exportation as easy as possible. And finally, you're going to want to visualize this information because we have collected so much data in our platform, we might as well put it to good use. And we do this in a couple of ways. One is through our reports, and our reports are the living, breathing update, the backbone of your organization. I'm sure we've all seen reports before. It's because they're so important. They really give us the hardline information on how our organization is running. And this is not the exhaustive list. This is kind of the most requested reports, but everything here is configurable. You can have these sent out daily, weekly, monthly, and you can ensure that whoever needs this information will be getting it in a timely fashion. And if you need to, you can always run a report right on the spot so you can pull up that data as you see fit. And finally, we want to bring all of your organization's information together in one neat little package so we can connect to BI tools like Replicon, or sorry, we are Replicon, like Tableau, Google BigQuery, and Power BI to really unleash your data in a complete fashion. So we want you to understand that not only are we helping you harvest data, but we are transforming it and we're displaying this way in a way that makes sense and allows you to make those big decisions. And even if you don't have a BI expert on your team, all you have to do to visualize all your organization's information is download one of our sample workbooks. You'll have 7 different dashboards that you can explore and log in through your instance, and that's it. You will have all this information visualized just like you see here. So hopefully that was enough to help you understand that Replicon does have a ton of use cases that we support, and we can really help you out in understanding what your time information means, cleansing it, capturing it, and then getting it where you need to go. So that is going to bring us to the end of our demo. Yes, I know it was quite the ride, but we are almost done. We have a couple more slides. We're going to give you a quick reminder of who we are at Replicon, take a look at some customer examples, and then we'll finish off with questions from you folks. So who are we? You probably already know this, but we are Replicon, but we are an established organization in the time industry. You can see we have 7,800 customers in over 7,800 customers now in over 70 countries. We have 600 team members across the globe and 25 years of experience, and 42% of our budgets are on R&D spend. So we are constantly improving our platform to meet all of your needs. And as you can see, we are found in organizations across a breadth of industries: professional services, media marketing, engineering, construction, higher ed and research, travel and transportation, the list goes on. So regardless of where you find your organization on this list, we will have a use case support for whatever you need to use your time data for. And there's probably more than a few names that you recognize here because we are everywhere. We are the time intelligence company and we just know time so well. And this has been proven time and time again. And we can see this as a result of some of our customer transformations. So we've looked at the numbers. We create a unified view of time, projects, costs, and gross pay, a 1 to 7% decrease in payroll, increase in revenues, decrease in administrative costs, reduce compliance risk, and increase in resource utilization, just to name a few of the things that we really hone in on. And here's a couple of examples of that in action. So we can see here we had a 300 employee consulting firm. Gasp, I know they used manual spreadsheets and homegrown systems, and these weren't necessarily so flexible. This made it difficult to manage and track their cash flows, made billing an utter nightmare, and affected their profitability. But after implementing Replicon, they had accurate and consistent data that everyone could pull from when they needed it. This improved resource management, allowed for better staffing, and created faster and more accurate billing, and obviously made their organization more successful, or we wouldn't be talking about it here. Another example is this 50,000 employee engineering company. And frankly, they had a lot of stuff that was causing them problems. They had non-exempt employees, project teams that were using an old tracking system, including Excel, I know, gasp. They had to track time for pay employees and billing clients. They had to pay overtime. Global absence management need to be managed. There were so many use cases. And Replicon solved every single one of these with our time intelligence platform. We had out-of-the-box support for compliance, gross pay, absence management, project tracking, costing, billing, and more. And we solved all of their problems with ease. So that is Replicon. You have seen our comprehensive suite in action. We have seen a little bit of every single solution, but that is not the complete picture. Replicon is capable of so much, and we really want to help you illustrate what we are able to do. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to contact me or my marketing team. My email is curtis.dohanic@replicon.com, and I will get back to you as soon as possible, but we are here to help. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to get in touch with us at any time. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I know December is a busy month. 2020 is a different year, to say the least, and we know that all of your time is so valuable, so we want to thank you for spending this hour with us. I hope you're all staying happy, staying safe, staying healthy. We hope to hear from you soon, and take care and enjoy the rest of your day. And again, let us know if you have any questions. Take care, everyone.